International Playtime.
International Playtime.
Here we go.
You're listening to the Leafs Powerdom, March 7th edition. Today we're talking about many things, not the least of which, the Hall Pass.
Hey guys, I'm flying neutral colors today. I don't know if you see, I got the Hockey Night in Canada hat, and this is in tribute to Walter Gretzky. One of the, like they keep saying, he's one of the great Canadian dads and stuff, but it's not just hyperbole. It's one of those things where I think a lot of people do look at him that way. He's, because even aside of being the great one's dad, it seemed like he was like Canada's dad. He was very, very, someone that you could say this is the type of person I'd be proud to have my dad. So anyway, so I'm rocking Hockey Night in Canada, duo denim. I got the jeans on and the shirt on.
The Canadian tuxedo.
Nice. Yeah, man.
Yes. All for Walter Gretzky.
Yeah. Welcome back, John, by the way.
Yes, welcome back.
We missed you last week. We had a nice fill-in there with
you.
Mike Buey as our guest appearance, and Mike said he's happy to come back anytime, so we can always add him in as a fifth at some point.
It was a really good show. Really good show, and it's tough, to follow up drinking out of the Stanley Cup with Timo, but, I'll do my best.
You had something to contribute to the hockey movies discussion.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, hockey movies. Well, of course, I was disappointed that nobody brought up The Love Guru, the only film with Toronto Maple Leafs as the center point of the film. But I discovered another little gem that I thought I should bring up. You guys had some drama, you had some comedy genres, but you didn't have surreal fantasy, messed up alternate reality film. And so I found this little Bravo fact short film called Back in 93. And here's the log line. It's a coming-of-age tale of a 10-year-old Montreal Canadian fan living in Toronto Maple Leafs loving St. Catharines, Ontario during the 1993 Stanley Cup Finals.
I was a Hab fan in a town with only one home team.
Written and directed by a Mr. Mark Montefiore, who I think we didn't say.
I knew it. I thought I recognized
So
it.
I think we need to lay down the gauntlet and get this guy on the show. If anybody knows him, it's time for him to make his presence known.
If it's Bravo Fact, it should be on Bravo's site.
It is. I'll send you the link. I watched it this morning.
Link in the doobly-doo.
Link in the doobly-doo.
So this week, last 5 games. Okay, so a little bit more than a week. If there's anybody who's a new Toronto Maple Leafs fan, right? Maybe they're starting to hear talk around town about how good this team is, and they're a new Leafs fan, and they start to subscribe to our podcast because they want to, find out what it's all about. That week was exactly like the epitome of what it means to be a Toronto Maple Leaf fan. You have 3 games, Edmonton, who has 2 of the best players in the league, and we totally spanked them, right? We beat them with Hutchinson and DC. All right, we don't even bring out the big guns for most of the games. Then the team gets the transporter device, and Scotty beams them to Vancouver, and we're in like some alternate universe, where Spock has a beard, and we lose twice.
Fascinating.
Right?
Yeah.
We go from picking out our spot. I'm like, okay, Temperance and Bay. That's where I'm going for the parade. I'm going to be there at 4:30 in the morning. It's warmer now because it's later. I'm all good to go. And then Vancouver, and and remember the first episode, I said maximum drama quotient. They never take the easy road.
Nope.
That's my welcome to Maple Leafs fandom.
Nailed it.
You're so right. Those 2 Vancouver games, it just felt like we were just this far out of sync.
Missed it by that much.
Like you're right. Yeah. It was like an alternate dimension, sort of like half the team was in one dimension, the other, and so the passes were just little short. And hey, you're not going to win them all. There was lots of shots. Demko did stand on his head a bit, but it was sort of, we didn't dominate the way we looked like we did against Edmonton.
Vancouver was outskating us fairly consistently, not dominating us. I mean, like the games went back and forth. We just seemed to be, having a lack of closure. We couldn't capitalize once we actually got down on net. Demko did stand on his head a little bit, but we also didn't demand. I mean, our shots weren't demanding he do a whole lot of acrobatics. the shots that demanded that went past him. Hyman zings it in there, no problem. Edmonton also didn't look like nobody showed up to play. Edmonton was chasing us hard. They were chasing us fast. They were beating us up on the boards when they could catch us. The 3 games against Edmonton looked like masterclasses on this is how hockey works. Last night's 2 games was like, this is how the Leafs organization used to work.
That's Leaf fan, like you said, Leaf fandom to a T. It's like, amazing. Oh my God.
Golly, that's an awesome point. Like that's what it's like to be a Leaf fan when you see this total domination, the skill on display, and then, the very next day you're like, what happened? Like where? But is that every team or is that just us?
Having never been a fan for another team, I couldn't tell you what it's like.
Yeah.
You're a fan for another team.
Yeah, it's true.
Maybe Travis Green is a better coach than we think he is too. And he was, obviously analyzing the team. There was a pretty big trap game going on. They played a lot differently than Edmonton did. Vancouver wasn't like running around like maniacs trying to chase the puck off us. I didn't find. I felt like they were just like, okay, they kind of gave the sort of approach we did to McDavid, keep him to the outside.
Yep.
And that's what they were doing to us. They're just like pushing to the outside. We had like 35 or 37 shots, but I never felt like, man, we're peppering them with great shots. It was like, where are all these shots coming from?
Yeah, we were sneaking.
Demko was on his game, so he was just on the angles.
Yep, there was no passing lanes. Our passing game through the neutral zone was B- at best. And that was partially because there were no lanes and partially because historically we've had this problem too, but passing to people who weren't there, or it felt like there was so many passes into the skates or the step behind them or just out of reach. Like there was a whole lot of, if only that had worked, but we
weren't far off from winning either one of those games with the chances that we had,
a good
and the stuff that there was a few that Matthews put one off the side of the net, had a gaping, things that usually go in, shaking heads, Marner last night as well too. Yeah. So, we were that close to winning those games and we wouldn't be having this conversation. Hey, can you guys just not yell? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So you can play with the puppies. Go take them in the other room. Do international playtime or something. Really? I don't know. I'm doing podcast, dude. I don't know why I invented this thing called international playtime, and it goes international playtime, and it's when they all come running out and they have the floor of the entire house. It's international, and they're all different colors, and it just seems like this, puppy party, like the sort of opening ceremonies at the Olympics or something. and they just let them run, and it's very, very exciting. But I'm not there to supervise international playtime. They could end up pooping on the carpet. So
let's do a rapid fire highlights, lowlights.
Yeah, third line, man. Like Engvall, Mikheyev, and Hyman is just like, that is just rocking along. Those guys are hustling. They're popping in goals and giving her. Now, if we get the other 2 lines really going, the top 2, that's
we're in good shape. Yep. John?
I'm going to go back a bit deeper because I missed the session last week, but the Spezza goal was just like a thing of beauty. Like that's worth bringing up again and again and again.
Yeah.
Nice.
Little stat. Jason Spezza has 40 points in 81 games with the Leafs. Average ice time 10:43. So right now, if this was a season, at the end of the season, he'd have 40 points. And they'd be big goals too. Like he doesn't just get freaking dumped in goals. Like he gets shit that matters.
Yeah. He could be called vintage or clutch. In that Edmonton game, he had 3 assists.
Oh, there's only one thing that happened this week, and that was fucking Ilya Mikheyev smoking fucking McDavid to go and get the puck and take it away.
Yeah.
That was unbelievable.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about this, like, put it this way. Everybody in Edmonton knows who Ilya Mikheyev is right now. Like, that's the thing, is no one comes in and outskates the fastest player in the league. And both of them were on the ice for the same amount of time. You know what I mean? There's they're both fast guys to begin with. We know that, but he muscled them out of the way, took the puck away, eventually ended up losing him. He's Ilya Mikheyev. But the point is that Ilya Mikheyev doing that the same thing as McDavid doing what he did to Riley last year? It was basically, I'm going to smoke down the ice. I'm going to take the puck away from you.
Yeah.
And right in front of everybody. And I don't know whether or not the whole team played that way, because we did play with a certain fire. And actually Riley had a great series as well against Edmonton.
Yeah.
And then we ended up going in. They didn't have the same sense of urgency when we went into Vancouver. And I wonder if that's because they had already satisfied what they meant to do when they flew out west.
Mikheyev effectively pantsed McDavid in front of the entire world.
Yeah.
And McDavid even himself looked like that's how he felt. Because once Mikheyev pushed him out of the way and took the puck, McDavid just took his foot off the gas. He coasted around the back of the net, like, and then humped his way back to the bench. Like,
it was like he lost the fastest skater competition at the All-Star game.
And
just mid-game, it was like, oh, well, I guess that's the end of this portion of the event.
Yeah.
Like,
he was surprised. I don't think that's happened to him.
Yeah.
And I bet you Morgan Riley went over after the game, and he should have at least paid Mikheyev a couple $100 and said thanks, because that highlight now will be played just as much as McDavid, no look deep.
Pantsing Riley,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Lowlights. If I had to pick two players that were lowlights, I would actually say Freddy and Matthews. Not that in either case it's their fault necessarily, but I feel like probably an unfair comparison, but Freddy's our top goalie, and both our backups kind of outplayed him this week.
Mm-hmm.
Now he is coming back off an injury. There's all kinds of excuses, and again, I'm not crapping on him per se, but certainly from our goaltending staff, he was the low light.
The chatter online and the freak out people are like, get rid of Freddy, Campbell, and
you can't
trade Freddy.
No, those guys are not everyday guys. They've never been everyday guys. Their whole Freddy will carry the weight of this and the load of it the whole way through, for sure. But it was also great, and like you said last week too, Paul, the team might get up a bit more for those guys too and play a little harder because they're those guys, and the coach is saying, hey, let's win one for Hutch. Because Hutch's game against Vancouver, that was a pretty good game, but his goals were as soft or softer than Freddy's. So,
for sure.
And like those two that went in over the shoulder on those crazy angles, I don't think they're going in on Freddy because the way his size and the way he positions himself. Again, Hutch played overall though a pretty solid couple of best games I've seen him play as a Leaf.
I kind of feel for Jack Campbell. It's not really a low light, but every time he kind of, starts to get a few games together, he gets hurt, right? Like, a bit worried for him. I'm not on the trade Freddy ever bandwagon, but I'm not sure Campbell's, a healthy backup quite yet.
Yeah, that groin seems fragile.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right.
Like he just seemed to pop it, like it wasn't a huge thing that happened. If I have the right play where he he just kind of
just pushed
throughout the leg a little bit.
Yeah.
So.
And the problem with a groin injury or something like that, if it's a tendon situation, it's not something that is right up in 3 weeks. It's the kind of thing that becomes a weakness that gets worse and worse until you have surgery.
We should get like a groin report that's kind of works like the different zones, the COVID zones. It's like where is Campbell's groin? Is it gray or is it red?
Red zone
or green? Because we do need him as a backup. It would be good if we had a color-coded graph to show us where his groin is at. I don't know if he'll come on the show, on the pod. We got to get a few more subscribers before he'll actually come and talk about his groin. Until then, we should probably have a graph.
Yeah, well, just a good infographic.
So I want to go back and address this nickname issue. So we've got they call him Soupy, the players do, and then Mikheyev is the Superman, I guess. So it's like we got a couple of soups going on because Jumbo Joe redid Willie's nickname this week and called him Willie Styles. He wrote it on his stick, and then Willie started to score. What is the best Leaf nickname right now? And here are our options. So I want everybody.
Oh, okay.
So we got Willie Styles. We got Johnny Toronto for our captain, Fredzilla, Jumbo for Joe, of course, Austin Matthews as Pappy, Spezza as Vintage, Wayne Simmons as the Wayne Train, and Ilya Mikheyev as Soupy. What do you like out of that?
I like Willie Styles. I mean, that's a pretty good nickname. When I saw that on a stick, I was like, yeah, okay,
it works.
Willie Styles, especially since he seems the least sort of nicknamey, styly guy going. So Willie Styles, sure.
All right.
With that.
See,
I like that too. It's kind of it's hard to argue with something that's so natural as that.
Yep.
John.
Yeah, well, and Jumbo Joe comes from another team, right? Like that nickname is kind of brought with him.
Yeah.
But I did notice this week why he got that nickname. Like when you see him out there, he is a big dude.
He is a big dude.
He's a big dude.
And that beard makes him bigger.
But he's from St. Thomas. That's why he has that name. Did you know that?
What's it do?
No.
He's
from the Jumbo City. That's why he's Jumbo Joe. Do you know Jumbo City?
No.
Nope.
St. Thomas is St. Oh, fuck. Jumbo the Elephant was on a train.
Yeah.
Or a train hit the procession of the circus parade, and Jumbo the Elephant was killed there. So if you go there, right by the train tracks, there's a great big or there was at one time. I remember when I visited there. There's a great big statue of Jumbo the Elephant, and it's called Jumbo City. That's the nickname. Joe's from St. Thomas, so he's Jumbo Joe.
Well, there you go.
And he is big.
Yeah. So it's a beauty. That's why that's just a good one. No, that's an easy one. Johnny Toronto is another one. I love obvious
vintage
ones.
I love vintage.
Spezza. Vintage is good.
It's just great. It's just like and especially after that move with the giant slap shot, like you said, that's a vintage move from the 80s, the big fake slapper. So
Well, let's get into the rumor mill, the hall pass. He's on the Sabres, and the Sabres have announced that they're open for business. So clearly they're looking to move whatever they can. It's a fire sale down there.
Yeah.
I'll give you my short answer on Taylor Hall, and I go with hall pass. There's something toxic about that player, and he just where he goes, for whatever reason, it doesn't seem to work out. And I think there's got to be something about the player that's the issue. You know, he's a talented guy. He can do some great things, but I upset the apple cart of the personality of the team, and one bad apple.
Yeah. Kiss of death. I have him on my fantasy team.
No, well then forget it.
I thought, he's there with Eichel. Like, how could this not work? 2 goals, minus 14 on minus
in 26 games.
Yeah, if he can't score with Eichel, moving him to sit with Tavares or sit with Matthews.
I agree. I am fully hall pass as well. Hall pass, because clearly he's got the on ice skills. So if the problem exists behind the boards, we don't need any of that right now. Generally, it's a hall pass. Power dump, hall pass.
Yeah, we're flushing that.
Yeah, that's a power dump flush.
Maybe a double flush. Buffalo, I just got to say, it is such a tire fire this year.
Oh, do you think it's like the same thing that happens in football? Do you think that it's just that Buffalo just isn't a place that people want, like they walk out of the rink and they're like, oh man, I'm in Buffalo? Like, it's as opposed to being in Tampa Bay or Las Vegas or something else like that. Does it just, the other thing too, is like, you really got to hand it to the Leafs. Even if you just look at what's going on in Edmonton, anybody can end up at the bottom and draft well, but really building around those good players and creating a system. And when things don't work out, like with Babcock, making a pivot and then continuing to build, trying to grab the right players at the right time. I'm happy with where we're at, but it's got a lot to do with who ended up building the team. And the same thing could have gone on in Edmonton or in Buffalo with their picks. And we're going to be watching other teams like Detroit and New Jersey as they end up getting top picks too. So, so anyway, the Leafs organization's done really well, and Buffalo just hasn't seemed to been able to hook onto that same vibe.
And you think, like you said, with Taylor Hall there, it's like, okay, there's something going to happen this year, and it just doesn't happen, which is too bad, because when we do play Buffalo, I like it when the teams are there's a good rivalry going there and there's intensity.
So look at what we're getting out of Spezza and what they're not getting out of Skinner.
Exactly.
I would have ranked those two guys in the same level at a certain point.
So much more money for that signing, though, was like,
man,
that's a lot of money for a dude who just doesn't warrant it. I don't think. We got a recreation experiment with Galchenyuk that we're working on right now. So let's just, we're going to do that. He's cheap and see where he works out. Yeah. Apparently reports are from the Marlies. He's buying into what they're doing with them. And he's really thriving right now and starting to, like, I think he probably realizes his last kick at the can as well. So like, this is a good shot and a good place where player development is huge, which sounds funny for a guy who's 27, but clearly he needs some of that.
We had Simmons coming back, right? That's like a end of the season trade, practically getting him back.
Yeah.
True. Yeah.
Totally. Oh, can't wait. Miss that guy.
When the Wayne train comes back through town, man.
Do we go into our predictions? Do we see if the Rascal's around?
To work on Sundays?
Well, yeah, but like I could send him a text and see if he's free anyways.
See if he's up.
I think it's the only day he works. Actually, it's Sunday.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, the Blue Rascal.
Hey boys, it's nice to see you. I'm back so hungover this time. Okay, what a week. Chaos, emotional. God is so high, so low. It's crazy. But I'm here for predictions, not the past. So, we got 3 games coming up against the Winnipeg Jets. The Blue Rascal says, we're gonna go 2-1. I'm always positive about the boys. You know who I like, because he's so speedy right now? Mikheyev. Oh, he's gonna get a goal. Maybe 2. He's gonna really get going, I think. I love it. There's gonna be a dust-up. There's gonna be a big dust-up. We're due for a punch-up. One of those games, I'm thinking game 2. It's gonna be crazy. Speaking of dust-ups, did I ever tell you about the charity wrestling match I had with Christy Swanson and Lonny Bohonos in Tijuana? Oh, well, it was something else, oh boy. But everybody lost. There was no winners in that one. No, it's not good. Okay, boys, the Blue Rascal here in Tijuana, actually, and I will see you next week.
Lonny Bohonos. Wow.
Lonny Bohonos.
That's digging deep. That's digging deep.
No wonder nobody won that. That's why there were no winners.
Christy Swanson.
when Lonnie...
Yeah, Christy Swanson, the original Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So there's got to be some history there, I guess.
Lonny W. Bohonos is a Canadian former professional ice hockey right winger. He played most notably for the Vancouver Canucks and appeared in several games for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
He's got a Wikipedia page. He's like
playoff games.
Several games. That's better than a couple.
We're not sure exactly how many games,
but not as many as a few.
So 1998, he played 6 regular season games for the Leafs, 3 goals, 3 assists. He was a point-a-game guy, 4 penalty minutes, 9 playoff games, 3 goals, 6 assists, 9 points. He was a point-a-game player for the Leafs. Plus 3 power play goals. Yeah, awesome.
Peas and carrots. Red leather, yellow leather.
God, put that in. Please put that in.
You've been listening to the Leafs Power Dump. Be sure to like and subscribe and tell your friends. More subscribers equals more Rascal. More Rascal is always good.
Rest in peace, Walter Gretzky.
He will be missed.
Leafs Power Dump Podcast is Kirk Comrie, Chad Maker, Paul Zimick, and John Galway. Copyright 2021 Firewallet Productions.